Hello and welcome to Legacy IAS Academy. In this video, we are going to discuss about the questions from Indian economy from the 2022 prelims paper. So as you can see, there were a total of 16 questions coming from the Indian economy section itself, out of which 11 was static and 5 were current affairs related. When I say current affairs related, three questions from current affairs were still uh, related to static itself. So basically 14 questions could be attempted just by using your static knowledge itself. So essentially in Indian economy the questions will be rather direct, and there will be one or two questions which require you to go in depth. Apart from that, they will be pretty straightforward. Why? Because the subject is rather technical. So the first question, when you look at it, it is a very straightforward question. I would say it is a fact-oriented question. So it is asking which of the following institution actually compiles the information on industrial disputes, closures, retrenchments, and layoffs in factories employing the workers. So the answer is Labor Bureau. The Labor Bureau also does other work related to the CPI, industrial workers, CPI, all India labor, agriculture labor, and also your rural labor. So it comes out with these numbers as well. So it also comes out with the information related to industrial relations, right? All sort of industrial relations as well, socio-economic conditions of organized sector labor and unorganized sector labor as well. So this is the information it comes out with. So anything related to the employees or the workers, obviously Labor Bureau would be a straightforward answer, but sometimes people would find it difficult to answer such questions. Why? Because they are pretty direct, right? So in this case, it is Labor Bureau. The second question, it requires some sort of understanding related to the concepts. So in this, tight money policy of US Federal Reserve could lead to capital flight, right? So how to deal with this particular statement? See, tight money policy is nothing but increasing interest rates. Where are the interest rates increasing? In the US. What will it lead to? So increasing interest rates in the US means the bonds in US will start yielding higher interest rates, that is higher yields. So if bonds are yielding high amount of money, what will happen to the investors who are sitting in, let's say, emerging economies? So emerging economies like India. So what will these people do? Obviously the moment they see that the yields are rising, don't you think they run away towards US? This would be called as the capital flight. By this measure, option 1 is absolutely right. So with this, you can't eliminate anything. So 1 is right. What about the second option? Look at the second option. The second option says capital flight may increase the interest cost. So may, pay attention to such words, may increase the interest cost of firms with existing external commercial borrowings. So what are external commercial borrowings? So the external commercial borrowings are the borrowings by firms from foreign countries. So Indian firms, if they are borrowing from US banks, right? From the US banks, if they are borrowing, then we term them as what? External commercial borrowings. So US banks, obviously, if the interest rates are rising here, what would it lead to? In US banks also, the interest rates would go up. So if Indian firms are borrowing from here, obviously the interest cost of the firms would go up as well. Done. So second statement is absolutely right. Still, we cannot eliminate. Look at the third option. Devaluation of domestic currency decreases the currency risk. associated with ECBs. You already know what ECBs are, right? So this is something which you learn in the external sector. What is ECB? So ECBs, what would happen if devaluation of domestic currency happens? What is devaluation? $1 is equal to 80 rupees. When devaluation happens, $1 will be equal to rupees 85. That is devaluation, let's suppose. It essentially means you would be requiring more number of rupees in order to buy a dollar. So we know that ECB is a liability a firm has in terms of dollars. It has to pay in dollars. So if the interest rates are increasing in the US, the firm is supposed to pay more dollars as interest. If it has to pay more dollars, right? If it has to pay even the same amount of dollars, it has to spend more rupees to buy those dollars. So whenever depreciation happens, it has to pay, it has to spend more amount of rupees in order to pay for that dollar, right? Dollar loan. So devaluation of domestic currency, rather than decreases, it increases the currency risk. So statement 3 is wrong, right? So very simple understanding. Okay, very simple understanding, you will be able to get the answers right. Okay, there is no rocket science behind it. So the answer would be A. It is 1 and 2 only. This question is related to the institutions. So one such institution is Banks Board Bureau. This institution was set up in 2016, right? It was formed in 2016. This was formed on the basis of recommendations given by a committee called PJ Nayak Committee. Okay, the PJ Nayak Committee gave the recommendations in 2014 to set up such a body. So this body is a autonomous body. Okay, this is a autonomous body. What for was it set up? This body is mostly a recommendatory body, right? It is a recommendatory body. For what? For what? So it gives the recommendations related to appointment of whole time directors, right? Directors and non executive members, right? Non executive members, chairpersons. For where? For the public sector banks, for all the public sector banks. Basically, for appointments, it aids, right? It aids the government to make the appointments, especially in public sector banks and government run, financial institutions, whatever financial institutions you have, which are run by the government. So, there to appoint the directors and the chairpersons, it gives the recommendations. Now, what is this institution made of? So composition, when you look at it, so the BBB has one chairman, okay, and three ex officio members, and also you have five expert members. So the question is on the chairman, right? This chairman is not the RBI governor for sure, okay, because see, that would essentially mean this body, this institution would be regulating what? RBI is an institution which regulates the banks, and that institution itself is appointing the directors, non executive chairpersons of the banks. So that would not be right, right? That would be conflict of interest. So for this reason, the chairman cannot be the RBI governor. Who else is it? So the person who heads this BBB is going to be a person who is appointed by the appointments committee of the cabinet. So the appointments committee on cabinet of the cabinet, is going to give you the chairman of BBB. So who are these ex officio members? So by the power of that office, because they are in an office, they become the members of BBB. Who are these people? So there are two secretaries: the secretary of Department of Financial Services, and then there is a secretary of the Department of Public Enterprises, right? And then you also have the Deputy Governor of the RBI, Deputy Governor of RBI, who is also a ex officio member. You have five expert members from, they are the one who are recommended by the government again. So this is the composition of BBB. So the first statement absolutely is wrong. So one you can eliminate. The moment you eliminate one, you got the answer already. So the answer is B. So we'll look at the other ones, other two statements. BBB recommends for the selection of heads of public sector banks. Absolutely, I just mentioned. BBB helps the public sector banks in developing strategies and capital raising plans. So this is one of the functions of BBB in order to help the banks through the NPA crisis they were going through, as well as they also give the suggestions as to how to raise the capital, right? So what is capital raising? The capital raising can be either in the debt form or the equity form, right? We generally refer to the equity capital as tier 1 capital and debt capital as T2 capital, right? Tier 2 capital. So whenever we are talking about capital adequacy ratio, so it is tier 1 capital plus tier 2 capital divided by risk weighted assets. So how to raise this T1 and T2, they are going to give suggestions. Okay, that is the third question. Fourth question is related to convertible bonds. Mere understanding of convertible bonds, the nature of convertible bonds would be such, would be sufficient to answer this question. So, what are convertible bonds? As the name suggests, they can be converted into something. What can they be converted into? So, the bonds are of the nature of debt. Yes, you have borrowed from someone, right? So, you have issued a bond. So, you have to return this money later on. Basically, you have a liability, that is the nature of the debt, right? So, you're supposed to, pay the interest as well, right? You're supposed to pay the interest rate as well. Now, what are these convertible bonds? Convertible bonds are just that. At maturity, instead of you returning the money, what will you be doing? You'll convert it into equity. Okay. Basically, you are going to convert the bonds into shares. That's all. So that you need not return that principal amount, right? It is converted into shares. So, as there is an option to exchange the bond for equity, convertible bonds pay a lower rate of interest. So, that is the question. That is the statement. So, what does this mean? Remember, anywhere you have an option to do something extra. So, option for doing something extra, it means the return will be lower because you have the choice. Yes, you have the choice. That is why the return will be lower. So, because you have this choice, the returns will be lower. So, the option 1 is right. Second option, the option to convert to equity affords a bondholder a degree of indexation to rising consumer prices. Just think about it. So, whenever you have equity converted to equity, it means you are part owner of a firm. Because you are a part owner of the firm, if the prices are rising in the market, what would happen? The profit of the firm would go up. Profit of the firm goes up. If the profit is going up, you are a part owner because you own the equity. Don't you think your dividend goes up? Yes, your returns will go up, which means whenever the prices, that is the consumer price index, if it is going up, generally your dividends will also go up. So a degree of indexation is provided to you, which means statement 2 is right as well. So the answer is both 1 and 2. Next question. Though this was the simplest of all questions that appeared in 2022. So the answer would be D, Reserve Bank of India, right? I think there is no need of any explanation on that. The next question is related to near and rear. So this question made a lot of noise. So when this appeared, it made a lot of noise amongst all the aspirants as to what the answer is. Let's deal with it in a rather simplistic manner. Remember, near and rear, they are not exchange rates, right? Both are not exchange rates, rather, they are indices, right? They are both indexes. Okay, so near is an index, rear is an index. The formula to start with is rear is adjusted for rear is adjusted for inflation. It means rear would be equal to near into CPI domestic divided by CPI foreign, right? CPI foreign. So what is this rear and near? So near is nominal effective exchange rate. Basically, it just means that nominal exchange rate of various countries, you have nominal exchange rates with various countries currencies. Okay, so as in $1 is equal to rupees 82, and 1 euro would be equal to rupees 88. These are bilateral nominal exchange rates, correct? Now we clearly know how rupee is performing against dollar, how rupee is performing against euro. What if we had all these foreign currencies to be one? Let's consider that to be theta. So theta is the currency of the world, rupee is currency of India. How is rupee doing against theta? This is what we are supposed to understand. To get an understanding of this, we have nominal effective exchange rate. Clear? And then you have real effective exchange rate. What about this? So this is how many rupees you would be requiring to buy 1 theta. That is what near gives us. What about rear? Rear is more about in real world, how does it operate? It's not about your rupees ability to buy theta, that is a currency. Rather, rear is about a basket of goods, right? You have a basket of goods like apples, oranges, and then you have clothes. So to buy this basket, if in US it is $5, how much does it cost in India? In India, if it costs 200 rupees, then we would say, so then $1 is equal to rupees 40, right? This is the real exchange rate, right? This is the real exchange rate. So you can get the real exchange rate for every currency. We get the bilateral real exchange rates for every currencies. So how do we get rear then? Same same way, we are going to have what the weighted average. So how to calculate the weighted average and how to calculate the index number, I have made a separate video on it. So rear is the weighted average of all the bilateral real exchange rates, right? Compared to how Indian rupee has the power to buy that basket, compared to how that foreign currency, right? Foreign currency as a whole has the capacity to buy that basket. Now, with this idea, we are going to say that if near keeps on increasing, it means Indian rupee's ability to buy other currencies is also increasing. Basically, appreciation of Indian rupee is happening. If rear keeps on increasing, we say that Indian rupee's ability to buy the basket of goods in Indian market is going up, right? So if its ability to buy it in Indian market is going up, it essentially means for other people to buy the same good in their market will be costly in their market. Yes, basically rear is related to inflation. Agreed? So by this measure, it will be costly in their market. So the same basket, if it is costly in their market, they would have to spend more money to buy Indian goods. Basically, our goods will be costlier in their market, so trade competitiveness will be going down. So while the first statement is right, second statement is wrong. So the improvement of trade competitiveness would not happen, rather it would cause deterioration. Why? Because the capacity of rupee is increasing to buy the basket in Indian market, whereas the capacity of their currency is going down in the foreign market, right? So one is right, two is wrong. So by that measure, if two is wrong, the only answer available is C. So, an increasing trend in domestic inflation relative to inflation in other countries is likely to cause an increasing divergence between near and rear. For that, you just have to look at the formula here, right? So, if CPI-D, right, is increasing, obviously, the difference between these near and rear would be expanding. Yes, so 3 is right. So answer is 1 and 3, that would be C. The next question, so this is again the understanding, based on the understanding itself. So the first statement says if the inflation is too high, RBI is likely to buy the government securities. Just have an idea here. You have the rupees supply in the market. Let's suppose it is the Indian economy and you have these many rupees, and this has led to inflation. So you have to somehow remove this extra rupee from the market. In order to remove this extra rupee from the market, RBI is supposed to sell the government securities, right? If inflation is too high, RBI is likely to buy. It is not buy, it is sell. So one is wrong. So if one is wrong, the answer would be B. It is pretty direct. However, we will have a look at the second statement and the third statement. Okay. So what you observe is more often than not, if you are quite sure about one option even, you'll be able to get the answers right in Indian economy. Okay. You have to apply the logic properly, at least on one statement. So the second one says that if the rupee is rapidly depreciating, so what is happening to the rupee? So rupee is rapidly depreciating. So $1 is equal to rupees 80, and now $1 is equal to rupees 85. This is what has happened. So RBI is likely to sell the dollars in the market. So if the rupee is depreciating like this, what would happen? The main problem with this is our imports would become costly. Imports become costly, but we are an import dependent nation, right? We need some basic imports to come into India. So imports become costly. If the imports become costly, our import bill would rise. If import bill is rising, we have to spend from the forex. Our forex reserves would start going down. For this reason, what will the RBI do? RBI will intervene in the market and somehow cause our rupee to look better, right? Rupee should look better in relation to the dollar. How do you make it? So you have to do something whereby, rupee, if it has to look better, you have to pull out the rupees from the market. How do you pull out the rupees from the market? By selling the dollars. Sell the dollars in the market, in the international forex market, and buy rupees, right? So sell dollars, buy rupees. This is what you do, right? So second statement is right. Third statement, if interest rates in USA or European Union were to fall, so basically interest rates are falling. If interest rates are falling, it means, where is it falling? In US. How would the interest rates in India be? They are not saying anything about the interest rates in India. Let's say it is same in India. Relatively, which one is more? Relatively, now Indian interest rates look better. What would happen to the capital? The capital would start flowing from these economies towards India. When the capital starts flying, they would require rupee for investment in India. When they ask for more rupees, rupee value would go up, appreciation would happen, right? Appreciation of the currency would happen. When there is appreciation of the currency, our exports would fall. Exports become costlier for others to buy. So if exports fall, it is problematic for India, right? So if exports fall, our GDP has to go down. Why? Because we are producing less of it, less of goods and services. So for this reason, in order to cause our currency to look a bit weaker now, what is the RBI supposed to do? RBI is supposed to buy the dollars. So it is going to buy the dollars from the international market. And how does it buy the dollars? By selling the rupees. By giving away rupees, it takes the dollars. So demand for dollars increases. So the supply of rupees increases, right? So relatively, what would happen? Depreciation to an extent would happen for the rupees. So that would be 3. So answer is 2 and 3. That is B. The next question is related to inflation indexed bonds. So what are the advantages of it? So first of all, how do inflation indexed bonds work? Normal government bonds would work like this. Normal government bonds, they have a coupon rate, right? They have a coupon rate, as in the interest rate with it. Remember, for government bonds, amongst the government bonds for the T-bills and CMBs, which are short term, they have zero coupon rate, right? Zero coupon rate in the sense, zero coupon rate in the sense, they are the ones which are available at discount at face value. Okay, so they are available at discount at face value. But the government bonds or the dated securities, they have a coupon rate, basically the interest rate on the bond. Now, in normal times, government bonds are very much in demand. Why? Because they offer some attractive interest rate. But whenever there is inflation, whenever there is high inflation, they lose their shine, right? They lose their shine. Why do they lose their shine? Because, see, this is the interest rate it is offering. Normal interest rate, it is nominal interest rate is offering. Whenever the inflation rate goes up, the real interest rate formula is nominal interest rate minus inflation rate. So the nominal interest rate, if it is fixed and inflation rate is rising, the real interest rate, the gain, this is the gain you make, keeps on falling. So what is the solution? The solution is that the government came up with these bonds way back in 1997 itself. They were called the capital indexed bonds. Now they are called the inflation indexed bonds. So what happens in this is that the government or the RBI, which issues them, clearly states that you are going to get CPI or WPI level of interest rate for sure. Plus, you're going to get on top of it 1.5% or 2% extra you're going to get. So this will be your real interest rate for sure. That is not guaranteed in the normal bonds. That is why, what is it? It is inflation indexed. As the inflation goes up, your gains also go up. Now, government can reduce the coupon rates. Look at the coupon rate, it is as less as this, right? Whereas in normal government bonds, how much is the coupon rate? The coupon rate would be 6%, 6.5%, 7%. But here, how much is the coupon rate? This is the coupon rate, right? CPI plus 1.5% or 2%. Yes. So can it reduce? Yes, one is right. IABs provide the protection to investors. Why? You are going to clearly get the real interest rate, no doubt about it. So from uncertainty regarding inflation, 2 is right. The third statement is the one which creates a sort of confusion, or so as to speak, you would have to know the details. But when you read it clearly, I think you would be able to get an answer. See, interest received as well as capital gains on IIBs are not taxable. Now, interest received is this. This is the interest received. Look at this. This is the interest received. On this, is there tax? It says there is no tax. But if you sell this bond, inflation index bond, which you have purchased in the secondary market, in the stock market, right? You buy from someone and sell it again. You are going to make some gain, let's suppose. On that, there will be capital gains tax, right? If you directly buy and keep it with yourself and earn interest, on that there would be no interest rate. But you as a second party buy it from someone else and sell it and then make gains. For that, there will be what? The capital gains tax. So the statement 3 is wrong. The answer would be 1 and 2 only. The next question is related to the real sector in the economy. So, very simple way of looking at it is, real sector is a sector which is related to physical aspects of the society, physical aspects, or so as to say, non-financial sector. It is the non-financial sector. So, in the non-financial sector, obviously, you don't have the financial sector. Look at this: a commercial bank is a financial sector, so it is not real economy. A corporate body issuing rupee denominated bonds, so bonds again finance related. Textile mills, very much physical. Farmers harvesting the crops, very much physical. So it is non financial. 1 and 2 are non financial, 3 and 4 are financial. So the answer is A, right? Next, question number 10. So this was again pretty direct question. You have to just break the entire sentence into smaller pieces, concepts, and then understand. So acquiring new technology is capital expenditure or not? Absolutely, it is capital expenditure. So what is capital expenditure? The expenditure which leads to the creation of assets, or betterment of the existing assets or the processes, right? Which is going to yield you better return going forward. So that would be capital expenditure. So one is absolutely right. Second one is debt financing is considered capital expenditure, while equity financing is considered revenue expenditure. So basically, debt financing, you are just borrowing. Borrowing is not creation of asset. Whereas equity financing, you are not borrowing, but you are selling a share, selling a part of your company, selling a part of your asset, which is you are spending a part of your asset and taking the money, which essentially means this is capital expenditure. So statement 2 is wrong. Answer is A, one only. Next. Question number 11. With reference to Indian economy, consider the following statements. A share of household financial savings goes towards government borrowings. Very simple way of understanding. What do you do with your money, right? Whatever finances you have, whatever money you have, you are going to put it into some money into banks, right? Or you are going to put it into post office savings, right? Whatever you put into post office savings will be taken up by the government. Whatever you put into the banks will buy what? Government securities. Yes, and these government securities are given by the government through the RBI, however, but still it will ultimately reach the government. Are these finances or the savings reaching the government or not? Yes, it is going towards government borrowing. Why? Because it has to pay the interest on it. It has to pay the interest on this as well. Done. So one is right. Dated securities. What are dated securities? Which have a tenure more than 1 year. Government securities which tenure more than 1 year, issued at market related rates in auctions, form a large component of internal debt. So internal debt, when we are talking about, comes in two forms. One is related to your market borrowings, and the other one is related to other borrowings. So other borrowings are very very minimal. So this is a part of public account of India. It is a very small part. So majority of the borrowing is market borrowing, and this market borrowing does not happen without issuing these rated securities. Okay, that forms the major part. So option number 2 is also correct, so which means answer is C. Okay, next. This question is related to United Nations Convention on Law of Seas, right? Law of Sea. So consider the following statement: a coastal state has the right to establish the breadth of its territorial sea up to a limit of not exceeding 12 nautical miles, measured from the baseline determined in accordance with the convention. So this is absolutely right. So you just have to remember one particular diagram. This was actually in news. From here, current affairs related items will come. So the defense minister had made a statement way back in 2021, right? 2021 November, in the Indo-Pacific summit. So he had made a statement that India is going to be completely what following whatever laws are there internationally. So especially it is going to respect the UN clause, unlike other countries. So a wheeled attack against China. So the defense minister was saying we are going to follow it, maybe other countries don't. So in this, what you have to understand is you have the land boundary like this for a country. So after that you have the seas, right? So till a particular point, right, coastal area, this is the coastal area. So till this point, so though you have water here, this would be considered the coastal area. It belongs to the country completely. So this is the land area, and this would be called the baseline, right? This would be called the baseline. So from the baseline up to 12 nautical miles, it would be called what? Territorial waters, right? So territorial sea we call it. After that, another 12 nautical miles from here to here, we call it as contiguous zone. Okay, we'll call it contiguous zone. And from the baseline till 200 nautical miles, remember, from the baseline till 200 nautical miles, we call it as the exclusive economic zone. Okay, beyond this we call it as high seas, right? So basically, in this area, the first 12 nautical miles, here, the country's laws are very much applicable, right? So in the territorial sea, in the territorial waters, other countries, ships can pass without any harm. If they are causing no harm, they have the right of innocent passage. So second statement is right, first statement is right. And then the exclusive economic zone shall not extend beyond 200 nautical miles. Look at this, that is also absolutely right. So this is basically a geography related question. In economic geography you will come across this. So it is pretty straightforward question. Basic understanding would have helped to answer this question. 13th question, this was completely current affairs related. I would not say it is static related. So this Gujarat has the largest solar park in India. This is absolutely not true. Why? Because it is the Bhadla Solar Park, which is located in Rajasthan. Basically, this largest solar park was inaugurated in the previous year itself, right? 2021 itself. And Kerala has fully solar powered. This was long back 2015-16, right? So probably you would not remember this, but still you will be able to answer. Why? Because the third statement, look at it, Goa has the largest floating solar photovoltaic project in India. It is not in, where it is not in Goa, it is in Telangana, right? Peddapalli district, Ramagundam, that's where it is located, the largest floating solar photovoltaic project in India. So these two things, so option number 1 and option number 2, sorry, option number 3, both these were in news in 2021 and 22, right? and these were in news after August month, August 2021 itself they were in news. So using that, you will be able to get to know that 1 and 3 are obviously wrong. Because of this, only option remaining is B. Even if you did not know about Kerala, still you would be able to answer. So that is question number 13. 14, this again, Brickwork Ratings is a credit rating agency. This was in news. Why? Because the SEBI was saying that I'm going to, it is going to remove the licensing of the Brickwork Ratings, and it was removed later on. So is it a credit rating agency? Yes, it is a credit rating agency. So what is the first one? In India, credit rating agencies are regulated by the RBI. It is not the RBI. Why? Because if you had followed the news, clearly it is SEBI, right? It is the SEBI. So the rating agency, popularly known as ICRA, is a public limited company. Whether you know it or not, right, does not matter now. Why? Because you know 3 is right and 1 is right, right? 3 is right and 1 is right. 1 and 3 you have, sorry, 1 is wrong. So you know 1 is wrong. The moment you know 1 is wrong, you got an answer. Look at this. Clear? So second option, whether you knew it or did not know it, would really not matter here. Yes. So as I told you, if you stick to the basics properly, the chances are that you get all the answers right. Now, this is again a concept based question related to your non fungible tokens. So they enable digital representation of physical assets. Absolutely right. One is right. They are unique cryptographic tokens that exist on a blockchain. Yes, that is also absolutely right. And the third one, they can be traded or exchanged at equivalency. This is the keyword, equivalency. What is equivalency? That is, one non fungible token can be exchanged for another non fungible token. Can that be done? What is a non fungible token? Let's say there is a painting. A painting is converted into a digital form, it has a value. Painting 2 is also converted into a digital form, it has a value. So this is one non fungible token and this is another non fungible token. Are they equivalent? Absolutely not, right? It is not a medium of commercial transactions, right? It is an asset in itself. So obviously 3 is wrong. So answer is 1 and 2 only, right? And here comes the last question. It is about foreign owned e-commerce firms. Basically, there was news regarding it, right, in 2021 and coming into 2022 as well. It was in news pretty much. What was this about? We have two types of operations, or two ways of running e-commerce business in India. One is marketplace e-commerce, and the other one is inventory based, right? So inventory based model. In marketplace model, basically the e-commerce firm is going to provide a market, that's all, right? A platform to sell goods, just a platform. Sellers can come here and make sales. So seller 1, seller 2, seller 3, he can come here and make sales. Inventory based model, in this case, the e-commerce firm is going to provide a platform. Along with this, it is going to have the ability to inventory, as in it can buy goods, store, and then sell on its own along with other sellers, seller 1, seller 2, seller 3. Along with this, the e-commerce business itself can make the selling, that is S4. It is own. So it can store, it can buy from others and then sell. So according to the e-commerce rules in India, the foreign players are allowed only in marketplace. They cannot follow inventory based model, right? Whereas Indian e-commerce firm can go with inventory based model. So by this measure, they can sell their own goods in addition to offering their platforms as marketplaces. Basically, they can operate as what? Inventory based models. No, they are allowed only for marketplace. Second statement says the degree to which they can own big sellers on their platforms is limited. It clearly says if if a marketplace is owned by the foreign e-commerce firm, the maximum he can allow another seller, the big seller, is 25%. Beyond 25%, sales cannot happen, right, by one seller, right? So that is limited. So answer is 2 only, that is B. So as you can understand from the analysis, it's just that you have to pay attention to one or two statements and apply the basics rather in depth and in a clear manner. If you're able to apply the logic in a rather in-depth and a clear manner, you'll be able to get the answers pretty straightforward. So out of the 16 questions that we saw, probably there were somewhere around 13 questions which were easy to answer. Okay, so thank you for watching. If you have not subscribed to Legacy IAS, do subscribe and have a nice day. So I'll be coming up with the analysis of other years papers as well soon. Thank you.